rugby may not be rejoining the Olympics for another 4 years, but there is one form of the game that's been part of the Paralympic movement since 2000.
Wheelchair rugby was created in Canada, in Winnipeg, Manitoba in 1977. It was created by a group of quadriplegic athletes who had been playing wheelchair basketball and other sports, but with limited arm and hand mobility, they weren't as competitive as they wanted to be, so they created a sport which would let them compete equally and be, goal-scoring, high-performing members of the team. This tournament here is the London International Invitational. It's the test event for the Paralympic Games. The main goal is for the London Organizing Committee to make sure all of their systems work. So we are in the competition venue for the Games, and they're running as much as possible as they will at Games time.
This place is fantastic. I mean, the court is hard and fast, which we really like, and the fans are on top of you. They're not pushed way back.
For the 4 teams attending, who will all be competing at Paralympic Games, it's an opportunity for them to get in early and familiarize themselves with what will happen at the Games times. The 4 teams here are among the top 6 in the world. We've got Australia currently ranked 2nd, Sweden which is ranked 4th, Canada which is ranked 5th, and Great Britain which is ranked 6th.
You say wheelchair rugby to someone, they go, how do you do a scrum, how do you do a line out? But it's nothing like that. It's pretty much, you're in a wheelchair, it's like ice hockey mixed with basketball in a way. Hit anyone you want in the wheelchair as long as there's no body-to-body contact.
It looks like basketball to a lot of people at the start with the inbounding, and you got 10 seconds to get the ball in, 12 seconds to get it over half, and 40 seconds to score. But instead of shooting a hoop at the other end, you got to carry the ball across the other team's goal line. And you can hit anybody at any time, so that's the bonus. You have to be a quadriplegic to play this sport, and that means all 4 limbs being affected. And within that, there's 7 different classifications, and it's just pure function. How much function do you have? 0.5 is the lowest, 1.15. It goes all the way up to 3.5 is your most physically dominant player. But your 4 players can up to more than 8 points. So it's quite a dynamic, and when you get going on that.
Back, the first man on the scene to give them support. They will be rewarded with another Australian shirt.
I got into the sport when I was about 12 years old. It was actually a school sport, and at the time I was on a skateboard cutting around. Didn't like wheelchairs, thought they were for disabled people, so got into the wheelchair and never looked back.
I acquired my injury playing ice hockey. So during my rehab, a couple guys came up, told me about the sport, and I put it off for a little bit, but then they kept at it, so I went to the gym. I saw these guys going, beating the heck out of each other, and I signed up that day. Normal wheelchair wouldn't last too long in this game. These are hardened aircraft aluminum. They really take a beating. Thank God they take the beating, it's more than we do.
With normal rugby, the biggest similarity is the spirit and the contact and the speed of the game. I mean, it's a game back and forth possession, and definitely there's this full contact aspect to it, and it's a very aggressive, very fast moving sport. And we also find off the field there's some similarities as well. I mean, there's a spirit in the game of rugby where you play hard on the pitch, and when you come off the pitch, you're all together, you're all friends. And it's the same here. I mean, these players see each other a lot, and they don't hold anything back on the court. I mean, they're very aggressive, they're very competitive on the court. But off the court, that's, I wouldn't say it's forgotten, but you shake hands and you have a beer and you look forward to the next match.
Australia defeated Great Britain in the final of the tournament, but in September 8 countries will be competing for Paralympic gold.
My first one was in Sydney in 2000, and they're a rugby nation, so they were behind us. There's just a vibe and energy. And not to say that Athens and Beijing weren't amazing, but they weren't rugby cultures. So now that we're back in another rugby nation, it's going to be fantastic.
This will be the most exciting, the most gripping competition at the Paralympic Games. I always tell people who don't quite understand when I'm explaining wheelchair rugby to them, I just say, just come out and watch it and you'll understand. You'll understand why we do it, you'll understand why we love it. It is fast, it is hard-hitting, it is exciting. It takes about 30 seconds for people to stop thinking about the fact that they're watching wheelchair rugby and stop thinking about the wheelchair and just get excited by the athleticism of it. I mean, these are athletes, first and foremost, and that is evident from the first moment you watch the game.